What just happened shocked everyone in Nigeria. Former President Goodluck Jonathan, a man who rarely speaks about politics these days, has just praised Peter Obi in a way nobody expected. With 2027 around the corner, this single statement has changed the mood of the game. Let's break it down. Goodluck Jonathan has always been known as a man of peace. Since he left office in 2015, he has mostly stayed away from the noise of politics. He speaks rarely, and when he does, it is usually calm, short, and diplomatic. Nigerians respect him for that silence. Many see him as a father figure, someone who prefers unity over division. That is why what happened shocked everyone. At a recent public gathering, Jonathan decided to speak. The hall was full of people, leaders, elders, journalists, and even young Nigerians. Many expected the usual, a few kind words about democracy, a reminder about peace, maybe a call for unity. But what they heard was different. Jonathan paused. He looked around. And then he said something nobody expected. He praised Peter Obi. He called him a man of honesty, a man of courage, a man who has shown that politics can be done differently. The words came slowly, almost carefully, but each one carried weight. The moment he mentioned Obi's name, the room changed. Some faces lit up with surprise. Others tried to stay calm, hiding their shock. A few people could not hold back, they clapped before quickly stopping themselves. It was as if everyone understood they had just witnessed something unusual, something historic. Why unusual? Because Jonathan is not a man who throws praise loosely. He does not take sides in public. He avoids controversy. Yet, on this day, he placed Peter Obi above the noise, above the usual political talk, and spoke about him directly. It was not a long speech. It was not an endorsement. But it was enough. Enough to set whispers running across the hall. Enough to spark headlines the very next morning. Enough to make millions of Nigerians ask one question: why now? And that question was only the beginning. Goodluck Jonathan is not just another Nigerian politician. He is not just another former president. He is a man whose name still carries weight across Africa and beyond. He is remembered as the leader who, in 2015, shocked the world by conceding defeat peacefully, without a fight, without bloodshed, and without the kind of drama that has kept many African nations in chaos. That single act of humility gave him global respect. It made him a rare voice of wisdom in African politics. So when a man like Jonathan speaks, people listen. Not because he talks often, but because he speaks rarely. And when someone who hardly speaks suddenly chooses to open his mouth and say something meaningful, the world knows it must matter. That is why his praise for Peter Obi became more than just a compliment. It became a signal. A signal that carried deeper meaning than the words on the surface. A signal that forced people to sit up and pay attention. Let us pause for a moment and think about this carefully. For years, critics have said Peter Obi is only popular with the youth. They say his influence is limited to social media. They dismiss his supporters as noisy but powerless. They argue that Nigeria's politics is built on structure, money, and networks that Obi does not have. Again and again, his opponents try to push one narrative: Obi cannot break through. But suddenly, Jonathan's words come like thunder in the sky. And thunder always changes the air. Imagine hearing a man like Jonathan say Peter Obi is courageous. Imagine hearing him say Obi has shown a different kind of politics. This is not a random person talking in a market. This is not an analyst making guesses on TV. This is a former president who has seen it all, who knows the power struggles, who has walked the path himself, who has felt both victory and defeat. For him to place Obi in that light, it shakes things. It changes things. It makes people stop and think. Now let us consider the bigger picture. Nigeria is a nation where endorsements and signals from respected figures matter deeply. People do not only vote based on policies. They vote based on trust, emotions, and symbols. And in this game, Jonathan is a strong symbol. He is a symbol of peace. He is a symbol of humility. He is a symbol of what it means to put the nation above self. So when Jonathan praises Obi, what happens? Ordinary Nigerians begin to connect the two. They begin to think, if Jonathan, a man who left power without holding on, trusts Obi's character, then maybe Obi is not just hype. Maybe Obi is real. Maybe Obi can actually be trusted with leadership. And here is where it gets even more interesting. Jonathan's words are not only for Nigerians. They echo beyond the borders. International observers who once saw Obi as a rising voice now see something different. They see a former president with global respect giving him recognition. That sends a message to diplomats, investors, and foreign powers: this man is serious. This man is not alone. This man is seen by his own leaders as worthy of praise. That shift matters. In politics, perception is sometimes stronger than reality. And Jonathan just altered perception. But let us go even deeper. Jonathan belongs to the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. That is the same party where Atiku Abubakar has been the main presidential candidate again and again. For Jonathan to praise Obi, who is outside PDP, is more than unusual, it is bold. It is almost like breaking the rule of silence that former presidents often follow. He did not endorse Atiku. He did not speak of unity within PDP. He chose Obi. And that single choice carries meaning. It is like sending a hidden message: the future may not be where everyone thinks it is. And this hidden message creates ripples in the political space. Those who were planning for 2027 now begin to adjust. Some begin to ask, should we rethink our alliances? Should we prepare for an Obi wave again? Should we take him more seriously? These questions, once whispered in secret, now grow louder. And all because Jonathan opened his mouth at the right time, with the right words, and in the right place. Now imagine being Peter Obi that night. Imagine hearing the news that Jonathan praised you in public. For Obi, it must have felt like confirmation. A confirmation that his journey, though difficult, is being noticed by the people who matter. A confirmation that his efforts to redefine politics are not wasted. And more importantly, a confirmation that he is not walking alone. But here lies the suspense. Jonathan did not say he will support Obi in 2027. He did not declare endorsement. He only praised. And praise is not the same as support. That is why this moment is so delicate. Nigerians are left wondering, was this just a kind word? Or was it the beginning of something bigger? Think about it. If Jonathan truly decides to back Obi, it could rearrange the entire political map. It could weaken PDP's base. It could shake APC's confidence. It could attract other elder statesmen to step forward. But if it was only a kind word, then maybe it will pass with time. This is the mystery that makes Jonathan's statement so powerful. It is not clear. It is not obvious. It is not complete. And because it is not complete, everyone is left guessing. And guessing creates suspense. Suspense creates attention. And attention shapes narratives. Already, conversations have started. In living rooms, in markets, in taxis, in beer parlors, Nigerians are talking. Some say Jonathan has seen the future and is preparing the ground. Some say he was only being polite. Some say he knows Obi has what it takes but cannot say it fully yet. The debates are hot, and the uncertainty is fueling them even more. And this is how politics works. One statement, one moment, one unexpected praise can open doors that were once closed. It can ignite fires that were once dying. It can give hope to those who felt tired. Jonathan's words did exactly that. As of today, nobody knows if he will say more. Nobody knows if he will stand beside Obi in 2027. But one thing is clear: the simple act of praising Obi has shifted the ground. It has reminded Nigerians that politics is not just about money and power, it is about perception, about credibility, about the voices of those who have earned trust. And in that single moment, Jonathan showed that his voice, though quiet for years, still has the power to shake Nigeria's political stage. The road ahead remains uncertain. But one thing is sure: after Jonathan's words, Peter Obi's name will not fade. It will grow louder. It will echo stronger. It will carry weight it did not carry before. And that is why Jonathan's praise matters. Because in politics, timing is everything. And Jonathan chose his timing wisely. When Jonathan's words reached the public, the reactions were immediate. Newspapers carried the story. Social media exploded with discussions. Radio hosts debated it. Television panels could not ignore it. What was supposed to be a short moment at an event suddenly became the main headline across the nation. Why? Because Nigerians understand signals. And in politics, a signal is sometimes louder than an official declaration. Jonathan did not raise Peter Obi's hand. He did not shout that he would campaign for him. But in a country where words are read like codes, people knew this was not ordinary. This was the kind of comment that could shape alliances, shift loyalties, and even decide elections. The ruling party noticed it. The opposition noticed it. Supporters of Obi saw it as victory. Supporters of other candidates saw it as a threat. But whether they liked it or not, nobody could deny one thing: the game had changed. Now let us look closely at why this matters for 2027. Nigeria is heading toward another crucial election. By then, President Bola Tinubu will have completed his first term. Atiku Abubakar, who has contested again and again, may still be around, trying once more. Other big names will rise. But in the middle of all this, Peter Obi remains the one figure who excites the masses, especially the youth. The 2023 election showed that Obi is not just noise. He pulled millions of votes without the deep structures of APC or PDP. He shook the system so much that many politicians did not believe what they saw. His rallies filled up. His name was on every lip. His supporters became a movement. But critics laughed. They said Obi had no chance. They said he had energy but no network. They said his time would never come. Now fast forward. Goodluck Jonathan's praise drops like fuel on fire. It makes Obi's critics pause. It makes his supporters smile. It makes undecided Nigerians curious. Could this be the beginning of something new? Could Obi actually win in 2027? The road is not easy. Nigerian politics is full of obstacles: money, godfathers, ethnic divisions, and power games. But history has shown that even in the middle of all these, surprises can happen. And sometimes, one strong signal can turn an underdog into a giant. That is what Jonathan may have done. Think about it. A former president, respected by both the North and South, speaks highly of Obi. That breaks the old narrative that Obi is only loved in the East or only among young people. It suddenly gives him national weight. It forces people from other regions to consider him differently. This is where the suspense grows. What if Jonathan says more in the coming months? What if other elder statesmen follow him? What if voices like Olusegun Obasanjo, who once backed Obi in 2023, join hands with Jonathan? Imagine the effect: two former presidents, both respected, both known worldwide, standing beside Obi. That would shake the entire table of Nigerian politics. And what if Jonathan goes silent again, leaving only this one statement behind? Even that silence would work like a mystery. People would keep replaying his words, keep asking what he meant, keep debating whether he secretly supports Obi. That mystery alone is enough to keep Obi's name alive until 2027. But let us not forget the other side. Jonathan's words may also create enemies for Obi. Powerful politicians in PDP might see it as betrayal. APC leaders might see it as a threat. They may begin to strategize harder, pour in more money, and do everything possible to weaken Obi before the election season. Nigerian politics is not soft. Every signal of strength invites resistance. Obi must now prepare for stronger opposition than before. Still, hope is stronger than fear. And Jonathan's praise has given Obi supporters a fresh dose of hope. They feel their struggle is not in vain. They feel the voices of the youth have finally been recognized by a national figure who once sat in Aso Rock. That feeling of recognition is fuel. And fuel drives movements forward. Now picture the future. It is 2027. The election season has arrived. The campaigns are loud. The posters are everywhere. The rallies are massive. And in the middle of it all, Peter Obi stands, no longer dismissed as a social media candidate, but now seen as a man with elder statesmen quietly behind him. That image alone could inspire millions to vote differently. Jonathan's role in that future may be silent, but it will not be forgotten. Whether he openly endorses or not, his words have already shaped history. Because sometimes, it is not the full speech that changes the game, it is the one sentence, the one compliment, the one unexpected line that lives on in people's minds. And Nigerians never forget moments like this. Remember when Obasanjo wrote his famous letters, shaking governments and inspiring debates? Remember when Jonathan conceded defeat with that simple phone call in 2015? These moments stay. They do not die. And now, Jonathan's praise of Obi joins that list of unforgettable political moments. The road to 2027 is filled with uncertainty. Will Tinubu run again? Will Atiku return for another attempt? Will new faces rise from the shadows? Nobody knows. But one thing is sure, Peter Obi has been given a new weapon. It is not money. It is not structure. It is not propaganda. It is something far more powerful. It is credibility. Credibility handed to him by a man who once carried the nation's highest office. And in politics, credibility is priceless. So as Nigerians watch, they wait. They wait to see if Jonathan will say more. They wait to see if other leaders will follow. They wait to see how Obi himself will use this moment. Will he build on it? Will he expand his alliances? Will he convince those who still doubt him? The suspense is real. The story is not finished. The game is only beginning. But one thing is clear. When the history of the 2027 election is finally written, people will look back to this moment, this short, unexpected statement from Goodluck Jonathan, and say, that was when the tide began to turn. Because sometimes in politics, it is not the loudest shout that changes destiny. It is the quiet praise of a respected man, spoken at the right time, that sets the future in motion. And with that, Jonathan may have just written the first chapter of Peter Obi's possible road to Aso Rock.